This episode and every episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show is brought to you by Ironmonger Brewing. Visit Ironmonger at their tap room in Marietta, Georgia, or online at ironmongerbrewing.com.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yo, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are broadcasting from the Beer Guys Radio studios in Marietta, Georgia. And this week, we're talking with Bootstrap Brewing Company. I am Tim Dennis, and with me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Brian Hewitt.
Hey, Tim. So joining us today, we have Steve and Leslie Kaczeus, the owners of Bootstrap Brewing Company. We're going to talk about their incredible expansion in 2020, numerous award-winning beers, and their new non-alcoholic brews. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We're excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how is the weather there in Colorado? And I'm starting with that because we just had snow in Georgia.
Reportedly.
Yeah. Yes,
Wow,
yes.
that's crazy. Now, the weather's a little cold today. We had snow up in the mountains, anywhere 6,000 feet and above.
Sure.
But over the next week, they're saying high 50s. So
it was 61 yesterday,
yeah.
wasn't it?
See, that's gorgeous. That's beautiful.
What's the elevation over there in Woodstock, Tim? Is that
And
6,000
we're
feet?
like 3,600 feet or something like that.
Right.
So, but no, I actually didn't know it was snowing here until I've got a little Echo Show on my desk, and I looked down and it's got the snow emblem. I'm like, snow? And they said flurries. And when I went out the next morning, I counted them 6 snowflakes on my car. I barely got out of the driveway.
I barely made it.
How was the
shock.
blizzard down there in Buckhead? Did you guys survive okay?
I looked out the window and told Alexa that she was a darn liar.
A liar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That. There's nothing out there. You're a liar. So it was dark, though. I didn't see it.
was that a snow day for you guys?
It would have been, if we'd got another 6 flakes, if we'd done that, it would have probably shut us down there.
There would have been accidents everywhere.
Oh
No,
my
you know
gosh.
what? The traffic was really, really bad coming in.
See?
So I'm wondering if that's
It's the
fallout
blizzard.
from
the
all those
blizzard?
flurries
Yes,
that we had.
Good stuff. Brian, we're coming back in. Thanksgiving week just behind us there. Good times, man. Different this year for everybody. That's
Sure.
Steve, Leslie, how was your Thanksgiving? Did you do it the same as you normally do?
No, this year was a
Yeah.
little different. The parents wanted to stay home, and with the COVID restrictions, we just all kind of played it safe. And,
Yep, we hunkered down and did our own Thanksgiving. It was a pot roast, which was
and
okay.
lots of whiskey sours.
A
It was
lot of whiskey sours.
beautiful day.
There you
Sounds
go.
good.
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. That's
Right.
Brian and I got together. We have a brewer friend that's been around that joined us as well. So there's just 4 of
Nice.
us, small thing. But
Nice.
Brian's wife is from Malaysia.
Yes.
And she's hosted Thanksgiving before, and she's a wonderful cook, but you're not going to get a traditional Thanksgiving dinner if you go to her house.
There's
So
likely to be fried rice or chicken
Curried
curry or
fried rice,
something,
this and that,
something
so-
mixed in it. She loves the
Yeah.
holidays, absolutely loves them.
Yeah.
But you're going to wind up eating some Indian food or some Malaysian food or something
Right.
like that for sure.
I had to host this year, and I did a turkey. They did a ham, and we had a pretty good old traditional American Thanksgiving dinner. So it was a good time.
It's
And
great.
Some good beers, Brian.
Yes, there were a number of good beers.
What was your favorite holiday beer we had Thanksgiving?
Boy, that's a hard call because we kind of did a drink your cellar, except it was drink
We
Tim's
did.
cellar.
Uh-huh.
I think it was probably that Helm's Deep, honestly.
Oh, that was so good, man.
I
Yeah,
think that
Three
was-
Taverns Brewery, Helm's Deep. We also opened up, I forget the year, was it 2015 Black Tuesday?
2015, yes.
Which was 19.9%.
Whoa.
And so,
Yeah.
so that was a big boy. That's you just sip a little. We actually still have some of that left. A week later, I corked it and put it in the fridge. So,
well, it wasn't.
It's not very highly carbonated
so,
or
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
It's 20%, so like nothing's
Yeah.
going to live in it. You know?
Right, right. So Leslie, you'd said it was kind of a whiskey sour and pot roast kind of night for you guys, right?
Yeah, this year that's what we did. But normally I like to run over and get an Avery Rumpkin, because Avery is just a few miles from
yeah.
us.
Oh, yeah.
and,
Yes.
and we're good friends with those guys. But oh my gosh, it's so good with pumpkin pie. We just pour little shots of it like it's a little brandy or something.
There you go.
So delicious.
See, Georgia, our ABV cap here is 14%. So a lot of the big stuff that Avery does, we don't get in here. And we talked to the beer archaeologist.
Travis Rupp, I think. Is that
yes.
Yeah.
Talked to Travis Rupp over there, and he sent us a few. And one was that I literally always forget the name, but it's a chocolate covered cherry one.
Is that cerise or is that a different thing?
That's what I was trying to think.
Yeah.
So, but they're just so good.
Yeah.
They're just so good.
I think I do a coffee one called Twitch that's like 16 or 15%, which is devastating because our cap is at 14 and I can't get it here without leaving the States.
Oh, you're going to have to come visit. They have so many goodies.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want to get out there again.
You know, I haven't got outside of Denver on my tours. I've been to Denver a lot. I used to have a client out there that I'd visit 2 or 3 times a year. And it's been about 5 or 6 years since I had them as a client. So I don't get out as much. And I think 2017 now was my last Colorado trip.
Well, you're overdue.
I always stayed in the Denver area. I am overdue, very overdue.
It's been about 2007 for me. I drove across country and went through Denver. Yeah.
It's a whole new world out there.
I know. It's like nothing that is currently of interest to me right now. It was there then, I think. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we popped over. Our good friends at Good Word celebrated their 3rd anniversary, Brian. So we went over there, had a few beers. They did a collaboration with Stan Hieronymus.
They did,
a petite lager that was just fantastic, like a 3.5%.
Something like that,
yeah. So just a really great beer, and they're killing it over there, man. I'm fans of all they do.
Exit Simulation, especially
The
that
stouts.
base stout,
Yes.
just without any of the decorative stuff added to it. Fantastic, an amazingly good stout, and absolutely worth the trip over there to pick some up.
Just over there, and good people there too.
Oh,
just
sure,
a good group of folks, man. So we always have a good time. Absolutely.
Well, Tim, I think it's time for us to get into the beers of the week.
Now it's time for our beers of the week. Brought to you by The Nest, craft beer and barbecue in downtown Kennesaw, Georgia. TheNestKennesaw.com.
Well, Brian, as always, we've got a great sampling of beers to get into here. We've got a special one here that the New Belgium was kind enough to send us, Piano Keys. And this is one that they collaborated with our friend L. Sharpton. And it is a beer it's a beer with a cause, man. It's meant to kind of spread the word out there to raise awareness about inclusion in craft beer for everyone. So they did this. L had done this with them before as just a draft-only release. And pretty cool. We've got cans now. Only in the Atlanta area is where you can get this. But Piano Keys is an imperial stout with chocolate and vanilla. It's available around the Atlanta area right now in very limited quantities. But we appreciate them sending this out to us. Check it out. Like I said, good beer for a good cause. L. Sharpton's a good dude. So I'm drinking it right now, actually. And I will say this, it's an imperial stout. It's a little light. For an imperial stout, but that chocolate and vanilla is definitely in
the
there.
flavor is on
so
point.
You've got the flavor on point there. So that's one a special beer there. We had a visit with Creature Comforts earlier in the week. They were kind enough to bring some samples, and we will be sampling their Creature Comforts and Green Cheek collaboration. Living on the Sun, another triple IPA, Brian.
So good.
That's getting there.
The tip is.
And one from the hashtag Drink Your Cellar. We've got Grassroots Donut Disco 2018.
Ooh.
Was a cinnamon toast donut stout. So we'll get into that one. Definitely should be a good time. So, Brian, what's happening this week in the news?
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines.
All right, so with things tightening down to combat the spread of COVID-19, we've seen there's a spike, and not good news. It's not surprising that there are also layoffs in the news. To start, Founders is laying off 89 workers in Grand Rapids and Detroit for an indefinite amount of time, but they intend it to be temporary, and they plan to bring them back on in less than 6 months if things improve, and it's possible for them to do that. This is the second round of layoffs for Founders this year, though this round isn't as severe as the layoffs in April, which saw 163 people get cut. Also in the news, in terms of cuts, we've got Ninkasi over in Oregon laying off 12% of their workforce, citing soft sales in the on-premise business. A lot of the state's bars and restaurants have been closed. They've remained closed since probably March. And the governor imposed additional restrictions in recent weeks, so things aren't going to get better in terms of on-premise sales soon, so we're not likely to see that change. So I think we've talked about this before, but according to craft beer brewingbusiness.com, Yuengling has begun work on their beer tourism expansion plans in Tampa. They officially broke ground a few weeks ago, and the new campus is scheduled to open in early 2022. The upgrade to their current facility will include a state-of-the-art pilot brewing system, a new restaurant serving fresh local cuisine, digital interactive history artifacts and advertising, memorabilia, an outdoor recreation area, concert pavilion, and beer garden, and an on-site 15-story hotel. So it's going to be massive.
Did you get any oxygen through that news story, Brian?
I didn't. Yes, I'm very lightheaded right now.
You turn a little white there. So.
I did. Did I really?
Yeah. But you got it out there. You made it happen. I saw some renderings of that Yuengling facility there, and man, it looks like a Malt Disney. I think Sierra Nevada's already got that moniker, so I don't think they can use it. So it should be a good time. Well, you're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take a quick break, but we'll be back very soon with more from Bootstrap Brewing.
If you love beer, barbecue, and football, then the Nest in Kennesaw, Georgia is the place to get your fix. Featuring 48 taps, including unique and rare craft beers, wine, and more. Plus some of the best barbecue around. The spacious patio is a great place to catch the games this fall, where you can cheer on your team while you enjoy some wings. And don't forget about the delicious pork and chicken, and my personal favorite, the nachos. Remember, for the best in craft beer and barbecue, make your home at the Nest in Kennesaw, Georgia.
Brian and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth are always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy, Brian. They've got 18 of them.
As for the truck part, that's where it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks, so you're getting a different menu every day.
Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth.
Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Remember, all episodes are available on demand. So if you missed the broadcast, get the podcast. Beer Guys Radio is available on all popular and unpopular podcasting apps. Now let's get back to Bootstrap Brewing Company.
You know, Steve, I'm going to start off something we mentioned the first segment and something that we ran into on the break. Two styles we're seeing a lot more of lately are triple IPAs and Italian Pilsners. So as Bootstrap, are they in on that action?
You know, we're not in on the triple IPAs right now.
Okay.
Italian Pilsners, that sounds great. I mean, my background is Italian. That's, but those are things that I'm drinking like Moretti or whatever. So I haven't had an opportunity to drink true Italian craft Pilsners. I'm intrigued by that. But we've got our own Pilsner style beers that we put on tap. We've got a Bohemian Pilsner that we call Checkmate.
Nice.
We've got our 1956 Golden Ale, which is an ale, but it's Pilsner malts. And actually, 2 years in a row, it won silver and gold at GABF. Not this past year, but the previous couple of years. So we dig that style of beer. But what we're really playing with are what you guys were talking about in the beginning, those more imperial stouts. Since you guys are at 14%, the one that we've got that we're releasing right now is called Zeus Imperial Stout, and it's at 13.5%.
There you go.
Convenience.
Right. Georgia friendly.
Yeah. We knew we'd be on your show, and we knew that Georgia was 14%. So we'll send you a bottle.
Gotta dial
there you
down.
go, man. We appreciate it. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful beer. Parabola from Firestone was
Firestone Walker.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites, and it's limited release. I couldn't get enough of it, so I decided to make my own. And so we've got the Zeus Imperial that we're releasing over the next week, and it's, like I said, 13.5% Imperial Coffee Stout that was aged in a Woodford Reserve bourbon barrel, and it's just freaking delicious. And it's, how you can pour one of these thick beers into like a brandy glass and you tip it over.
Paint the glass.
Yes. That's exactly what this is. So that's kind of the style we're going after right now.
Okay, good.
Playing with.
We may have to mark this episode NSFW, Brian.
Yeah.
With this hot beer talk here.
So thick.
That's it. Yeah.
You've been working on that for a while, too. I think I'd looked through Untapped and heard an interview that you did, and it sounded like you'd been working on that particular stout for like a year or something like that, right?
Yeah, and that's actually been sitting in barrels for about a year.
Yeah, we released it when it first came out
I think it was
just with not barrel aged, but what we're bottling here in the next week is
barrel aged. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of our MO. You know, we don't make a bunch of beers and see what sticks on the wall. I'm very deliberate in the style of beer and also making sure that when it's ready to be released, I release it. And sometimes it takes 8 months to a year for me to make a beer, like our New England IPA, the Lush Puppy. It took me a year to make 12 batches and dial it in, and until finally it was like, whoa, baby, this is good. And
this is the one,
this
right?
is it, and I'm proud to release it.
Yeah. You know, talking about that ABV cap, it's something that we've had discussions on and off. I think it was, what was it, 2007, Brian, somewhere in there, maybe even later, that we just got above 6%.
I think it might have actually been 6 or 2006, 6%.
You know, it wasn't that long ago that we were still capped at 6%. And the arguments have always been things like, you know, you'll have kids going out getting these high ABV beers. Look, there's not a kid going to go buy a $30 750 to get ripped up on. He's going to get his Four Loko, or he's going to get his cheap vodka or something. He's not going to be doing that.
A $30 750, that's a deal. Don't you mean a 500 ml?
Sure, that's right. Yeah, the new thing,
the new normal.
But you know what? In some of these beers, like the Black Tuesday we were talking about, that's not nearly a 20% beer, but I'm going to drink a 4-ounce pour of it, and that's enough. But it's so decadent and rich and boozy. The booze is a nice component of it. I wish we could do that here in Georgia. It would be nice.
It would be nice.
And there's some releases that we just don't get here at all because of that. So it happens. Now, Steve and Leslie, you both came from a high-tech industry. Is that correct? And decided, let's make a brewery?
Yeah. I mean, our career started in the high-tech industry. Leslie bought me a homebrew kit years ago, and my background is engineering. I love the creative component of brewing, and you know, it's like being an artist or a chef. You've got this amazing palette of ingredients, and you get to play and try things, and so that was kind of my creative outlet. And it wasn't until my company got bought out by another company, and we didn't know if I was going to have a job for a while, and we said, you know, this is kind of the catalyst that got us going and thinking about, we always wanted to have control of our destiny, and what would we do? And I had been home brewing, making some good beer, and we thought, hey, would we ever consider opening up a brewery? And so that started a journey for us.
So you got started back in 2012, right, with the brewery?
Yes. Yeah. So we opened the brewery in 2012. We kind of finally decided in 2011 that we were going to do this.
And we spent 5 years researching.
Prior to that.
We signed up as a brewery and planning with the Brewers Association so that we could go to the craft beer conferences, and you know, we really did our research. We were like, this sounds like a really cool industry. We just wanted to make sure, is it really as cool as we think? And you know, along the way we were able to, you know, speak with just some amazing people and confirm that yes, it is an amazing, cool industry.
And some of the people that Leslie's talking about, I mean, if you think about it, so we opened in 2012 and the journey was 5 years prior. So we were talking to people, you know, 2007, 2008. And the people we were talking to were like the Doug Odells and the Dale Kateches from Oscar Blues. And they were smaller back then. So, you know, it was just kind of, oh man, you got to get in. But if you get in, you know, we did a lot of stuff up front. So when they started, there was a lot of forgiveness in the styles of beer they brought out, and maybe wasn't as consistent. But all of us, you know, yourselves and us, we were like, wow, these are really cool beers. And the one comment I got from everybody was, hey man, if you want to get in, that's great. We'll support you. We'll do collaborations and all this, but your consistency and your quality, has to be up at our level. You know, don't be that brewery that comes in and just thinks you're going to make a lot of money and you just put poor beer out there. This is not
get on my level.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh yeah. So we were like, yeah, that we can do this.
And you don't open a brewery to make money. I mean, it's just
sure. Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out how to pay ourselves, but it's for the love of beer. Yeah. No,
You know, talking about the help you get in the industry, we were talking about this the other day with like online forums and, Facebook and different forums have really made things useful. But even as a home brewer, you'll go into a group and you'll ask a question, and Wayne Wombles, Sean O'Sullivan, Mitch Steele, Stan Hieronymus, these guys will give you answers. It's really amazing that we have these elite level people in this industry that really the everyman has access to.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
yeah,
It's good stuff.
I love it. I mean, it's always been like that ever since we started talking to these guys. When we started, it's funny because Dale from Oscar Blues was just down the street from us, and we knew him because our boys played baseball together. And I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to tell him that I'm starting a brewery down the street from him, and he's gonna be at me. And so I called him, and he's like, oh, this is awesome. If you ever need anything, if you need help with ingredients, if you need some technical assistance, my brewers are always available. Let's collaborate. Let's have fun. So that's what we love about this. And especially coming from the high tech industry where everything is non-disclosure agreements and confidentiality agreements.
Right.
And I can't tell you anything, or my lawyer's going to sue you. It was just really refreshing and down to earth. And that's why we're in it.
And beer is not like that unless you use the word bells in any of your brewing stuff.
Right.
And then
Or
it's
even
a
bells.
story.
No, it's bells. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take another break, but we'll be back very soon with more from Bootstrap Brewing. You know we love good beer, and Athletic Brewing makes non-alcoholic beer that stands shoulder to shoulder with their boozy brethren. With a fraction of the calories and certified organic, it's a great beer to enjoy anytime.
Athletic's got new brews like Cerveza Atletica just in time for summer. Check out the full selection at athleticbrewing.com. Use code BG25 for 25% off your first order, and U.S. customers get free nationwide shipping. Athletic Brewing, brew without compromise.
Craft beer forged with a reverence for tradition and new styles that start a revolution. Ironmonger Brewing. The brewers at Ironmonger Brewing pride themselves at being masters of barrel-aged, hoppy, and sour beers. They invite you to their tap room in Marietta, Georgia to taste and see. Also visit their barrel room for an intimate drinking experience with great live entertainment. Keep up to date on all things Ironmonger by liking them on Facebook. Ironmonger Brewing, establishing a new standard in craft beer.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Well, I'm sure I'd feel much worse if I weren't under such heavy sedation.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, KENN 1390 AM and 92.1 FM in Farmington, New Mexico. Catch Beer Guys Radio and KENN every Saturday at 10 p.m. Now let's get back to our talk with Bootstrap Brewing.
Our talk, Brian.
Our talk,
absolutely.
yes.
So, Steve and Leslie, we want to talk to you some about your growth, because really a great story. You guys have grown through 2020, and like Brian's news segment suggested, that's not the case for everyone. We've seen a couple here in Georgia closed. We see layoffs and unfortunately some second round layoffs for certain companies. But 2020 has been a good year for you in growth. Is that correct? And if so, what do you attribute that to?
It's true. And I think a lot of it has to do with the solid beers that we put out there. And also we've got a great distributorship partnership. And, a lot of it has to do with Leslie and I were really the only salespeople, so to speak. And so there was a lot of growth due to word of mouth. It was organic. We were the ones that were out in the field really selling our products, and it was a lot of fun. But as soon as we signed up with some distributors that were passionate about our beer and championed our beer, that's really when we started to see some growth. And then this year, we partnered with an investor who is well known in the industry, and his name's Dale from Oscar Blues. And
he's got a little pale ale or something.
He does, I believe.
So,
yeah.
Little pills.
He's got a little bad boy.
A little bit of this.
Yeah. And, we talked about earlier, he's a friend of ours. He supported us all the way from the beginning. We never asked for anything from him. And, as we grew over the past 8 years, there was some synergy between us and there were some thoughts and whatnot. And he got to the point where he had the opportunity where he could invest in us, and he jumped in, and he's been a great mentor, great guy with just incredible vision and forecast. And we just had a great synergy, and we're having a lot of fun. So what he put into our business allowed us to get more fermenters, upgrade our lab, hire a few more people. And a byproduct of that is we were finally able to hire a couple of salespeople and start talking about getting into chains. And these salespeople have experience with the chain side. And so now we're slowly getting into a bigger piece of the market than we were doing before. And so we have that growth. I mean, when you look at us versus some of the bigger guys, the guys who are 100,000 barrels and above, they're stagnant or growing a little bit,
Right.
or,
Yeah.
coming down a little bit. But for somebody like us, who's at this year will be close to 10,000 barrels, a growth spurt is pretty good to go from 7,000 barrels to 9 or 10,000 barrels, and then projected to go to 15,000 barrels. There's some movement there that for smaller breweries is maybe easier to do than the larger breweries.
Right. Because that large brewery could increase their barrel production each year, your entire yearly amount, and it wouldn't tick the
It'd be a
box.
small percentage of what they're doing.
Exactly.
They went 250,000 barrels to 260,000. Like, okay, a little bit.
Yep. That was a blip, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now it looked like your growth in the wholesale channels was even pre-COVID. I know some places have seen some success there, but was that typically from out of the gate? Was that where you saw it? Have you ever been more taproom focused? Because that seems to be the place to be these days.
Well, our tap room's important, but our vision has always been wholesale, and let's put beer in cans and let's put it out into the market. So, we started out in 1,200 square feet tap room only 8.5 years ago. On day one, it was like 100% of our revenue was from the tap room. And now you fast forward, and now we're more wholesale driven, because there's a finite amount of money and revenue that you can get based on how many chairs you have. And currently there is no indoor seating.
Yep. At least here in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we're in Georgia. You can do it. You can go out naked, pack 40 people in. They don't care. They don't care.
Though they do space them out, so you can't pack them quite as tight.
Yeah.
So that's not quite as many chairs as before.
Yeah. But I mean, we're so thankful that we have wholesale. I mean, in these times with these restrictions that are affecting our taproom revenue, if we were taproom only or taproom heavy, this would just be so devastating.
Sure.
Yeah. And kind of to tag on to that. So starting in January, we were starting to see that bump. Every year we have annual business reviews with our distributors. Hey, what are our goals? Hey, Steve and Leslie, what are you guys releasing next year? And let's put a plan together. And January, February, March, we were exceeding our goals. And then March hit. We were shut down from March till about end of May or something like that. That was definitely devastating for our tap room. Half a month of our wholesale, but then all of a sudden it exploded because, like everybody else, we were hoarding liquor in our house because we didn't.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
Toilet paper and beer. There you go.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so, the wholesale side went up. Luckily, we didn't have to let anybody go. On the production side, we're pretty lean and mean. We have some brilliant people. We're pretty efficient in our process. I've got some hardworking guys. I think we're all passionate, and we're all just, yeah, man, we love this. And so we're surviving. But again, with all this addition of the sales team and going through another annual business review, we're projecting growth again, and it's markets that we haven't been in.
And we released 2 new products 2 weeks before the COVID shutdown.
Oh, that sucked. Yeah.
Right.
That's
yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Great timing.
We were like,
yeah.
here we go. And everybody's like, yeah. And then boom. And it got shut down. So we couldn't really get that out there. It was our Sparklicious seltzer and our mix pack. And
yeah, we were going to spend the whole summer doing tastings and hand sales and pouring it at festivals and all of that.
See, that's the thing. We look at that, all the beer festivals we've missed this year.
Oh, seriously.
You know, just getting to go out and see your friends and mingle with everybody. It's too bad.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it's like to hang out with people and drink beer in a public place and not be wearing weird masks and, you know, like eyeing people on the sly, like everybody's a villain. One of those people could bring you down, and you need to stay away from them. It's so
they got
weird.
their eye on you.
Oh, they do.
No handshakes.
No handshakes.
No hugs. None of that.
Maybe an elbow bump. Maybe
you can elbow bump. You can do that. I had a meeting earlier this week, and they came in and pushed the chair like the other side of the room, put their mask on, kept the distance. Man, it was like was like it was a serious plague meeting there, man. That's the way life has been most of the time.
Do you have one of those masks that looks like a giant
beak? I should
beak?
get a plague doctor mask.
That would
I
be
definitely
cool.
should get one, because we could do that, and those would be meeting appropriate. Those are harder to put under your nose too.
They are. They're really hard. You know what those were all about? They'd actually put something in the bottom of it with aroma to them,
fragrance,
to cover up the smell of all the death,
all the rotting death.
And that seems odd. That seems applicable to 2020, honestly.
I mean, saying this, you got to kind of appreciate that our plague doesn't smell.
That's true. It really doesn't.
Yes.
Too bad.
Well, you're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take another break, but we'll be back very soon with more from Steve and Leslie at Bootstrap Brewing.
Have you ever thought about owning your own brewery but don't know what it takes to get one built? We're Storytime Construction, and we build breweries. We're Georgia's most experienced and hands-on contractors when it comes to building new breweries and tap rooms, or expanding existing breweries. We offer full build-outs, remodeling, and additions, as well as consulting and construction management. Give us a call at 770-733-4343. Storytime Construction. We build breweries.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons get cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. Now let's get back to Bootstrap Brewing Company.
Y'all, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about, we want to talk about your beers in depth, but we're actually going to start with something that we have dabbled in this year, Brian. We've dabbled in the world of non-alcoholic beers, and we found a few that we liked, and what we call our doctor's orders, experimenting with some non-alcoholic beers. But we found a few that we like, but you guys actually have some NA beers available, correct?
Yeah, we just started releasing it in November. And we're really excited about it. It's something new, and I'm not sure that I ever thought about doing an NA beer in 8 years ago.
But we've got customers that, for whatever reason, I mean, it's great. I mean, like pregnant ladies, people who are struggling with gout, others that athletes.
all the pregnant women want our NA beer. That's so weird.
It is.
They're so excited. They're like, oh my gosh, I haven't been able to drink a beer in 7 months, and this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then we've got other, friends and customers that struggle with gout, and they're like, oh my gosh, this tastes like an IPA, and I don't get any side effects.
And then you've got designated drivers who come over and they're buying some of our fruity sodas and stuff. And they're like, man, I wish I could have a beer.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And then there's the athletes that, it's like they're training for races, and they're like, oh my gosh, this will replenish my electrolytes. It tastes great.
Any beer that's under 2% is rehydrating. And so,
all right.
So it's a lot of stuff that's come through our tap room, people who are like, I don't even drink. And so I love your non-alcoholic beer. And this summer, just on a personal level, I started becoming a little bit more active. We talked about Colorado, how active it is and all this stuff. And I realized that, holy smokes, if I had a non-alcoholic beer that was a rehydrating beer, and if I added some electrolytes in there, this could be something really cool. And it's funny, I was sitting in our tap room and I'm drinking 6 of my NA beers, listening to the band, and I've got a breathalyzer, which I need to carry with me in the car anyways, because I got to be careful.
And I'm safe, right?
And I'm blowing into this thing after 6 beers. After each beer, I'm going 0.0, 0.0, 0.0. I'm like, holy smokes, you know what? And I drove home and ran 5 miles. And I was like, this was a test for me. And I'm going, dang, okay, this is cool.
Well, your activity sounds a little drunk to me personally.
It sounds like a triathlon. Watch a band, drink 6 beers, and then run 5 miles. Yeah.
And guess what? It worked.
Hey, good stuff. That's talking about all the people drinking the NA beer. You're absolutely right. And when we were advertising NA beer on here, we got questions from people. It's like, why are the beer guys talking about non-alcoholic beer? Does anybody care? But I'll tell you what, we got more emails, inquiries, and questions about where to get it, what it's about, and all that about non-alcoholic beer than probably we normally do over other beers. So people are definitely interested for all the reasons that you mentioned. Whether it's like, for me, it was my doctor said to minimize my alcohol intake, to watch it. I didn't have to quit. He's like, just try to control it a little bit. So if we're out having a few beers, we pop an NA beer into the mix there.
Yep.
So, and then we keep the party going.
It's a good maintaining beverage too.
Sure.
Like if you're open them up with friends, I'm like, hang on, let me mix one of these in to kind of gap out the alcohol, just a bit. You still get the feeling of drinking a beer. You just don't get the alcohol from drinking it, which is that's a nice thing.
And here's the deal too. It's not like we just got into the non-alcoholic market just to get into it. Again, I'm the kind of person that it's going to take me some time to make something that tastes great. And it took me a year to really work on this to finally get the flavor right, where you wouldn't know if you're drinking my Lush Puppy Juicy IPA at 6.3% or you're drinking this NA beer at less than 0.5%. The flavor and the aroma is all the same. And it's a great tasting beer and it works. I love it.
Because in the early days of NA beer, that wasn't the case. You knew you were drinking a non-alcoholic beer. And there are several now that we've had really nice IPAs. There's a Bravus. Was it the peanut butter stout that they do?
Oh yeah,
it's delicious.
Nice. Oh,
if you like the peanut butter stouts, it's really good.
Yeah.
So even if you want something a little darker and richer, it was there hitting it.
So I have to ask, I saw that you were adding electrolytes and minerals and things to this non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
How do you do that without it winding up tasting like vitamins? Because anything I've had that has electrolytes added, like beverage-wise, is always wound up tasting medicinal. Is that hops? Is that really just a lot of hops covering it over?
It up, right? Yeah.
No, it's just a balance, right? I can put a ton of electrolytes in there and then you're going to know it. And it's just a nice balance, just like when we were talking about the Chillax Pineapple Gold. It's a nice balance of the pineapple. You don't have to overdo it, but you put enough in there and then you balance it with some post-processing with hops and stuff like that, and then just make it work.
Now I am thinking about the energy drinks, and their goal really isn't to balance it out. It's to deliver the maximum amounts and make it so it's drinkable. And that's all they care about. No balance there.
But if you get a little hops, I know like citrus kind of tones that flavor down a little bit, or the hops profile there definitely would. So,
being a little bit more active in biking and stuff, I didn't want to drink those high energy drinks or whatever with a lot of electrolytes.
You don't need all that sugar.
I wanted a beer.
Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you can get electrolytes, the low ABV, so you're hydrating, plus you get the electrolytes.
Yep.
This really sounds like a win-win to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Other than the part about exercising beforehand. I mean, so.
No, it's about listening to the band.
There you go.
Right.
That sounds
good. It's a triathlon, so it's win-win-win. There's three wins.
There's a lot of wins there. You know what? Speaking of listening to the band, we noticed on your website you offer up some music pairings.
Oh, yes.
That's all Leslie.
I was going to ask who was responsible for that.
Rock chick.
So, Leslie, what is your process there? Do you go by style, the specific beer? Where do these pairings come from?
Well, I mean, there's a combination. Okay, so sometimes it's like, how do I feel when I drink this beer? Other times it's, what is the name invoke? And then other times it's just like, oh, I just think this would be perfect with this.
So Insane Rush has like Scorpions and AC/DC.
Gray Whites. And then my Hot Tub Party Mix, which many people have asked me to release. So I'm considering that.
So is it like Flock of Seagulls for the non-alcoholic? You ran so far away.
No way.
Right?
Oh,
See,
no.
It was
now it is. Now it is, right?
Or it could be. Now, Thunderstruck seems like that's high ABV, but running so far away seems like that's non-alcoholic.
No, Thunderstruck is with Wreak Havoc.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, you've got Rocky Like a Hurricane, Thunderstruck, and I can't remember.
Yeah, that's 8.5%, and it's Imperial Red, which won a couple of World Beer Cups, a couple of GABF.
Okay. You guys have won, I hadn't realized it until I looked at it. You guys have won a lot, a considerable amount of awards, correct?
Like 60 or something?
Yeah, 160, 200, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's like 560.
3,000.
Oh, 3,000? Okay.
Congratulations. That's great.
But you know what's really cool? The USA Beer Ratings just came out about a week ago. And every single one of our beers that we won awards with that. And I love this competition because you have to score high in taste and quality, value, and packaging. And it's judged by people within the industry that work for distributors. They work for restaurants. They work for liquor stores. And our Insane Rush, which is our flagship and our baby and our
IPA. Yep.
That one won gold for taste and value and packaging. And so it just took a clean sweep.
Sweet. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. Sweet. Yep. So, guys, we're just about out of time. If people want to keep up with what is happening with Bootstrap Brewing, where should they go?
Oh, definitely our Facebook page. Twitter and Instagram, but we definitely do a lot of releases on Facebook.
I like our Facebook page because there's a lot of me time. I take a lot of selfies and a lot of selfie videos.
The Steve Gallery.
Yeah, it's all about me, man.
All right. You know what? That's it. Y'all, thank you so much for joining in. And listeners, go to Facebook and check out Steve. You can get all the Steve that you need right there on Facebook.
Maximum Steve.
Maximum Steve.
Oh,
yes.
I love it.
Awesome, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
You got it.
So
this was
Absolutely.
great. Thanks, guys.
You bet. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. Join us next week as Brian. It is our Christmas beer blind tasting episode. We're going to get 10 or 12-ish Christmas beers, blind taste them, pick our favorites, one of our favorite episodes of the year. We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers.